what's going on, everyone? Before we get into our conversation, I want to let you know this podcast is sponsored by BetRivers.com. BetRivers.com, the best place for all your sports gambling needs. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can also watch all of these episodes on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. Now, let's get into our conversation. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric Devendorf, and I'm your host of the Scorers Table podcast. And tonight we have another great guest on, one of the best point guards to come through in SU history, scored over 1,500 points, over 1,600 assists, 200 steals, and he logged in over, I think, 4,100 minutes. So he played a lot. He played from 1990 to 1994. Then he ended up playing 10 years professionally, and now he's currently the associate head coach at Syracuse. So I want to welcome my guy, Coach Autry, aka Red. What's going on, Red?
What's going on, A, man? I'm a little pumped up, man. It's been a while, man. I've been waiting to get on with E. Devendorf on the podcast, man. So I'm excited.
Oh man, I appreciate you showing love. I know you're busy during the season, so appreciate you taking the time out, man.
Nah, wouldn't miss it, man. Wouldn't miss it. I'm excited, like I said, to talk to you a little bit, man. See what's going on. See what you got for me.
Absolutely. So let's start. We'll start back home. I know you were born in North Carolina, but you ended up moving to Harlem when you were like 5 years old with your family. So kind of just tell me about growing up in Harlem, especially back in that area. I know the hoop scene was crazy. Just being in the city was crazy. So kind of talk about that a little bit.
Oh man, it was a crazy time. Obviously, a lot going on in my neighborhood. Good, bad, whatever you wanted to call it, but it was my neighborhood. So at that time, it wasn't. And to me, it didn't seem like it was just normal. Sports was big in my neighborhood. We played sports all year round. One of my neighbors got me involved playing basketball, and I picked it up probably around, at the age of around 11 or 12. I was kind of a late bloomer back then because everybody was playing already.
Right.
So, we just played, we came home from school, did your homework, went outside, and you played till the lights came on, and then, you went upstairs, and that was really pretty much it, man, just playing sports. And for me, it was, picking the right circle to be around. Obviously, I had some friends that kind of moved in different circles, and I didn't want to be a part of that. I knew that right from an early age, so I didn't even go that way. So basketball was my way out, so to speak. Basketball kind of kept me out of trouble. And then I just started playing AAUs, eventually started traveling and seeing different places. And then I just stuck with it, and basketball was my vehicle, and I kind of navigated through basketball.
So I guess what age you think you probably was like, all right, I'm all right. I'm all right at this. I think this is what I want to do. I'm going to take it serious.
So it's funny. I'm probably around 14. Okay. I hung out with some older guys, and obviously they played basketball, but they didn't play it. They were playing it just to kind of mess around, and I always hung out with older people, and they thought I was old. They thought I was old. They thought I was the same age as them, and they realized how young I was. They were like, man, like you need to take this serious, man. You need to stop hanging around us and, get with some of these other teams, man. You can go somewhere with this thing. So it probably was around, 14 or 13. I was playing in a winter league, probably playing with it was the juniors. I was playing like against 16 and 17-year-olds. And I was getting 30 points, 40 points. We was winning. They were like, man, this is a young kid right here. So as they say today, my old heads kind of directed me to go play with these different organizations. At the time, it was the two organizations, was either Gauchos or Riverside Church. So they kind of pushed me, kind of my neighborhood just pushed me when people really found out how old I was and I was younger than them. They all kind of pushed me to play basketball.
And what neighborhood specifically was that you grew up in?
I grew up in Martin Luther King Projects, Foster. They called it Foster. It was on 115th Street between 5th and Lenox. So it was called King Towers. Some people ain't know it as King Towers, and they used to have some of the best tournaments there. I mean, I had a chance to see a lot of the college greats, from New York City come play there. Mark Jackson, God bless it, there, Pearl, Walter Berry, Chris Mullen, it was just everybody came and played. It was like, it was almost as big as Rucker Park was, so in my neighborhood, like that's how those games were. You had guys from Brooklyn, Queens, all over, Ross Strickland, everybody came through there and played. So that's where I got a chance to see and watch and really fall in love with the game.
So Dan, you naming all those guys, like those big time names right there, right in your neighborhood. So like it's not like you got to venture out far to go find like some top notch hoopers. So like who was the guy when you were growing up who everyone was like, Dan, we got to see him play?
You mean during my age group?
Probably like when you were growing up, a guy that you looked up to.
Chris Mullen and Walter Berry and Pearl, man. Pearl was, Pearl was must-see TV, man. Like you had, like when people knew Pearl was playing, you got to the park like right after school and was waiting. Even if it was a 7:00 game, 8:00, like you were waiting. You had to get the seat and get there early to watch him play, man. Pearl was that guy, and he was from Brooklyn, so he didn't come up to Uptown a lot, but when he did, it was everybody knew about it.
So 14, 15, you start to really make a name for yourself, but you end up going to high school in the Bronx though, right?
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So I decided to go to Catholic school. And so back then, New York City Catholic schools, you had, the one school that was close to me was Rice, but it was all boys, so I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for that. And a guy named Arnie Blackett that played at Talent Time was from my neighborhood, and another guy down couple of projects down, the guy named John Johnson that wound up going to play at Virginia. He played at Talent Time as well. So I had two guys that was from that, nearly from my neighborhood that played at Talent Time. So that was kind of where I wanted to go.
So 9th grade, you playing varsity, right? Off top?
No, 9th grade, so me and a guy named Brian Reese came in. We were like probably the two highly rated 9th graders in New York City at that time, along with Khalid Reeves and Derek Phelps, a guy named Anthony Cade. So we had some guys, and so me and him, we went to Talent Time. He played varsity as a freshman. In my school, we had some older guys, so I had to play JV, and then I got pulled up at the end of the year. But I practiced with varsity every day, so that was kind of like them kind of taking care of me, getting me that experience through practice at least.
So okay, you play JV, you get moved up towards the end of the year. I guess when did you really start to get those calls and those letters? Because I know by your junior and senior year, you one of the top players in the country. So when did it really start for you? Probably going in my sophomore year, because my sophomore year, we wound up being the #1 team in the country. At that time, God bless, we had Malik Sealy, and then Brian Reese was coming back, a guy named Jerome Holmes, like I said, a guy named Anthony Cade, who wound up leaving our school, but he was a McDonald's All-American. So on my high school team, we had 4 McDonald's All-Americans my sophomore year. Malik Sealy, me, Brian Reese, and Anthony Cade. And then, we probably had 9 Division I, high Division I guys that all played like, different places. So, our high school team was stacked. So everybody came through the gym my sophomore year. So I think, during the September, we had Coach Boeheim, Calhoun, all the Big East, they all stopped through there. Raleigh Massimino was at Villanova at the time. So we had everybody in our gym doing those September workouts. So probably my sophomore year was when I started getting those letters. Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time, because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay Instant Approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season right around the corner, there's never been a better time to get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call telephone number 1-800-GAMBLER. Who is the first letter that you got you can remember? Because I know that's that special one, though, that first one.
You know what? It was St. John's. And the reson why is because
makes sense. Makes
yeah,
sense.
It was St. John's. And because I wanted before my freshman year, I went to Lou Conasecca's Big Red basketball camp out in Queens. So that was, because at that time, Mark Jackson and all those, Mark Jackson, Chris Mullin, I grew up when I first started, like St. John's was like the big school, at that time, because I at that time, like in ninth grade and 10th grade, I didn't even really watch college. So I didn't really know, this was all new to me. So I wasn't really following and paying attention to college. I was more, like street ball, who was playing uptown in the park and stuff like that. So, I didn't get into high school, I didn't college until probably my paying attention to college is probably like until my junior year.
Your junior year. So, but you start getting these schools, and like I said, St. John's makes sense. So I guess who were the top schools that really were recruiting you in your top 5 that you were deciding to go to, and why end up choosing Syracuse? Why not St. John's? You right, you know what I mean? You right there.
So my 5 was St. John's, Pittsburgh, because my high school coach, after we won the championship, the national championship, after my sophomore year, he left and they hired him. And he recruited me to go there. So, obviously, we had that connection, and they wanted to get into New York and Kentucky, when Rick Pitino took over, and Louisville, which was probably at that time, Louisville, was one of my favorite schools that I wanted to go to, because when I started watching college, like, that was one of the, Purvis Ellison, that was
Denny Crum?
Denny Crum. So that was
Crum.
the McCray brothers, and they played for my AAU program. So, that was kind of the school that I liked. And then, Syracuse. And, and Syracuse, that was, I was watching Derek Coleman as a freshman, Sherm and, Cycly and, even a little bit before that, Wendell. And the Carrier Dome was, the Dome Rangers. So that, obviously that was exciting for me.
Yeah, the Dome Ranger.
Remember the Dome Ranger? Like people forget about that. The Dome Ranger, man. I'm old, man. So, but getting a chance to just kind of follow Syracuse during that time, man, and obviously Pearl. But so I was like, I gotta, Syracuse, I definitely got to go visit that school. Like I want to go there. I want to, check that out. So, that was my 5. And to be honest with you, when I went in all these visits, when I got to Syracuse, it was just different. And, Derek and Billy, Conrad McCray, who was one of my best friends, God bless, one of my best friends at the time. So I knew, I felt like I had a little bit of, comfortable with the people that were there. Yeah. And when I got there, it just felt right. And then when I walked into that dome, it was over. I was like, I ain't never seen nothing like that. I was like, man, I love to play in front of the crowd. So when I walked into that dome, I was it just felt right. It wasn't nothing like it wasn't nothing extravagant. It wasn't nothing someone said. It just felt right. And it felt like that's where I needed to be. And it was done. When I left the visit, I knew I was going, but I had to wait to make my announcement because, my AAU coach and all those guys, they kind of wanted me to make sure that that's what I wanted to do. But if it was left up to me, I probably would have committed right before I left.
Who was recruiting you from Cuse? Who was it?
Wayne Morgan.
Okay, Wayne.
Wayne Morgan,
Wayne.
yep. Wayne Morgan, man. He would come to my games. He would sit down and talk to me about the dome, and I would get up there every now and then, just to visit in the summertime a couple of times. So Wayne did a good job. He did a really good job.
Yeah, Wayne's the man. Wayne is the man for real. So what I guess playing, like you said, you love playing for the crowd, NYC, the parks, like especially back then, it's just different, right? It's different. That's really like that. That's damn near the NBA for real. I
Oh man.
mean, the talent wise. So how was that transition? Did it make it smoother going into their playing like with 30,000 in the dome or 25,000 in the dome? Was it just because it didn't really seem like much of a transition for you because you came in
No,
right away and you know what I mean? Did your thing.
no, it wasn't a transition. I mean, um, when I back then, man, like street ball was like those parks were packed. So they were packed, and obviously there was some other stuff that was going on. High stakes. I'll just say that there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
high
yeah.
stake games, so it was intense. You had to be tough. So I got to, I always say I learned all that without even knowing that I was learning it. I was that environment. So when I got to college, it was, it wasn't, I was used to that stuff, man. That stuff didn't phase me. High school was even, tough, playing against, certain schools, and, if you win, it might be some trouble when you leave there, it was just a whole lot of stuff going on in New York City basketball at that time. But the one thing you had to be, man, you had to be tough. You couldn't get punked, on the court, and you couldn't get punked off the court. So, it was a lot of times you argue in a game, and then after the game, it could be something else. You could fight, you'd be fighting or whatever the case may be, or breaking up a fight. So that's where, when I got to college, this was, that wasn't nothing, as far as the stakes and all that stuff. Playing in front of the crowd, I love that anyway.
You already had that dog, and that it was already instilled from you from the start. That's
Right.
that separator, that dog.
Right. And again, like as I was going through it, I didn't know that, but I remember I'll be sitting in before the game, and coach, the first Georgetown game, and he would be describing, how tough it's gonna be, and this, that. And I'm just like, all right, well, we'll see. I got out there, and I remember we won our first game, and I remember walking to myself, so I'm like, this wasn't tough. These guys, like, I mean, they fouled a little bit, but it wasn't tough, So
Yeah, talk about your first year, because like you said, you went in right away, led the team in assists. You guys ended up winning, I think, the Big East regular season title, 26-6. So to come in like as a freshman and do that right away, lead the team in assists, and you're winning like that. Talk about that, that first year.
my first year, we got here, and we didn't have a lot of guys. We only had 9 scholarship players my freshman year. So, but we had the right 9. I mean, that was Billy Owens' last year, and that was like I had never played with anyone like that. So I find myself a lot of times I was just watching him play, and he was going to work. and then Dave Johnson, that was like his coming out party where he averaged 18 and 20. Then I had LaRon Ellis. So, I felt like my first year, all I had to do was just not mess up. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, just not mess up, make a couple shots, but obviously I was competitive, and I wanted to, live up to the hype. And but I knew that I had some veterans around me, and I just kind of played my role. But it was exciting, man. I remember the first time we played, that was first the Big East ACC Challenge, and we had a chance to play against NC State, and that was when they had Chris Corciani and Rodney Monroe, and they called those guys Fire and Ice. And Billy was messing with me the whole week living up to it, man. Don't let them come in here and show you, give you the business in your home, And I was just like, man, that ain't happening, man. So it was fun, man. I was, Billy was a good leader, and Dave, those guys were all great, and they made it easy for me, man. They made my transition easy. I played. So again, like I wasn't worried about, all that other stuff, but they made it a little easy for my freshman year.
So, but did you expect that from yourself coming in? I mean, you expected to do that, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. You remember Mark Macon?
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, you remember Mark Macon?
From back home.
So, yeah, so Mark Macon, like that was like the first like freshman, like him and Purvis Ellison. So like that's when I kind of started watching college basketball. So, for me, I never like felt like, oh, just because I'm a freshman, I'm not supposed to do anything. I thought I was just as good as the seniors, so I was trying to come in and make an impact right away. That was always my mindset. I'm coming in here, when I got recruited, I didn't ask about who was there, who was starting. It didn't matter. I just knew that I was going to come in there and I was going to play. It didn't matter who was there. I was coming in there to play. And so that was kind of my confidence. So I always had confidence in myself that I would be able to, perform, at the collegiate level as a freshman.
I mean, because every year you led the team in assists every single year you played. And then every year your scoring average goes up. Your rebounding is steady going up. But I want to talk about a particular game. I think it was your senior year against Missouri. You had 31 in the first half. You know what I'm saying? 31 in the first half. People not doing that shit. Like right now they're not doing it, especially in college. What was your mindset like? What you eat before that game?
You know what? It was the second half. So
second half, sorry.
Yeah. So we it was my senior year, man, and I'll never forget coming in at halftime, and we were down big, and coach, I think I took like one shot or two shots or something like that, and he just kind of pulled me to the side and was like what's going on, man? You all right? I was like, I got you. Don't worry about it, coach. And I remember, Mo at the time, Lawrence Mo and John Wallace, J-Dub, he was a freshman, so they all kind of looking like, what's going on? And I was like, man, I was, kind of feeling it out. Wasn't really trying to force some things, but then, after halftime, man, I my team needed me, and and it was my senior year. It happened to be my last game, but I said to myself, this is gonna be my last game, man. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out and give it all I got. Not that I wasn't doing that before, but like it was really that sense of urgency just kicked in, and it was just, and next thing you know, man, I just got in the zone, man, and everything just started. The basket was big, everything just started happening, man. And I was just out there just playing.
So who got most of that though? On Missouri, who got that?
You know what, man? I played against Melvin Booker, and
Devin Booker's dad.
Devin Booker's dad. Now he could shoot too. People don't even know that. Like he was good, man. He could play. Like he shooted just as good as his son now. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
But that night. Second half.
Yeah. It was a battle, but he sent us home, man. He had a couple of daggers that was from deep, and that was the first time, like people didn't really shoot back that far from back then. And he was deep, man. He sent us home, but yeah, man, it was him, and it was, I forgot the other guard's name, who was like supposed to be like this deep. I think his name was Paul O'Lenny. I'm not sure. I think it was Paul O'Lenny. He was guarding me a little bit too, but that day it didn't matter who was guarding me, man. It was just, I was just playing. I was in the zone, as they say.
Yeah, out of body experience.
Yeah.
So you played. I mean, in tons of great games. We mentioned the stats, scored all the points, and that's a lot of. I don't think people understand, to get over 1,500 points and 600 assists. 200 steals, and playing all those minutes, like that's hard to do, man. Like that's a lot, man. So I tell people this too, E. Like, yes, I did that, but people don't understand. I played with two 2,000-point scorers, I believe, and it's even harder though. Then that's even.
I played with Lawrence Moulton. I played with Billy Owens, who's 1,800. John Wallace, he might be close to 2,000.
Oh yeah, 2,000.
Yeah, Dave Johnson, by the time he finished, he was about 15. So I was playing with dudes that was putting it up. So I had to figure out how I could make an impact.
You figured it out.
I had to, man. I had to. Shoot. But I played with some really guys. I played with guys. I said that the other day. I was like, man, I played with guys that I played with almost 2,000 points. One 2,000-point scorer, and I think J-Dub is close.
I think J-Dub does. I'm pretty sure he has 2,000.
Yeah.
Well, out of all those moments, though, what is the one that really sticks out in your head every single time somebody asks you the most memorable moment when in the SU jersey?
You know what? It was probably my senior year, and Kentucky rolls in, Rick Pitino and them, and I think they were number 4 in the country that year. And we, it was packed, man. And and we, no one kind of gave us a chance to win at that point. We knew it was be a good game, but people were like, Kentucky, top 5, and they had a really good team. And I think they had like Rodney Dent and Travis Ford and Tony Delk and I think McCarty. I mean, they had a good team. And
Mob, yeah.
I mean, it was a high scoring game. I wound up getting like a triple double. We win, and like the dome just was. I mean, it was a loud. They call it a loud house now. That game, and then we had a really good game against UConn with Donyell Marshall, and that was like a double overtime game. I think the score was like 112 to 90 something. It was one of those games. So, it was a couple of games that stood out, but the Kentucky game in particular was the game that really, I still remember to this day.
What was it like? Okay, here you go. John Wall's 2,119 points.
See, that's what I'm saying. I play with two guys that scored over 2,000 points, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's tough to be, because it's only one ball.
Oh yeah.
You got to figure it out.
And John Wallace did not come in shy neither. He wanted the ball.
You already know John getting them up.
Oh yeah, he wanted the ball. Him and Mo, I had both of them screaming in my head, yo, over here, bring it this way.
I already know. What was it like, man, playing for Coach? And is he different now than he was back then?
He not that much different. He was always intense. He was always, pushing. Me and him, he would get on me, but the one thing I always say about Coach is that like he always, had your back. Like he was with you. Obviously he would coach you hard and he wanted to win, and you always knew he wanted to win, man. And to play for a coach that that wants to win as much as you want to win, and not to say that coaches don't, but you could just feel, how Coach is like. Yeah. You just feel his passion, and he would go crazy. And there's nothing like, and I heard John say this one time. He goes, "There's nothing like coming out of that huddle, and he kind of grabs you and pulls you to the side." And tells you, just go win the game. Like just do what just go win the game. These guys can't mess with you. They can't guard you. And there's nothing like that. Obviously, he's talking to the team, but he would pull, that let he had belief in you. And there was times, and even I had John and Lawrence on my team, so they always won the ball. But it was just certain times he would say, Adrian, make your play. And that always stood out to me, especially with those, playing with the teams that I play with some really good players.
What's that do for a player's confidence, man, when a coach does that and pulls you to the side and says that?
I mean, I think it's the ultimate confidence booster. I think it lets you know that the coach he believes in you, and it just gives you confidence, even more confidence to take that shot or make that play and not worry about, if it doesn't work out. I never had that belief when I played with Coach of if I mess up, is he going to say something to me? Is he going to, that never crossed my mind, especially in that moment when he tells you that. That's just like, that's the green light. Go do your thing.
100%. If somebody tell me that, I don't care what
Say no
anyone
more.
else tell me. It's it. I'm done. I'm getting up 20.
Oh yeah, say no more.
Say no more. So you had a great SU career, and then you ended up having a great professional career too. You played 10 years overseas. You were a lot of different countries. I know I think it was in the German league.
Yep.
You were MVP or broke the scoring records and assists. But what country, what league for you was your favorite one to play in, and then I guess just to live in?
Germany I had a lot of success in Germany. So Germany was always, I played there for 3 years and had friends, but probably Germany and Italy. Italy, Italy was a great league. It was a tough league. Especially back then when I played in Italy. Manu Ginobili was there. Marco Yardage was there. I forgot. It was some other guys that all kind of left. They were the young guys that all kind of left and went on and played in the NBA. Delfino, all of those guys. So, but Italy was great. I love the basketball was really good. The league was good from top to bottom. And off the court, the lifestyle was just, the food was great. And the communities that every basketball team in that league was in a small town and community. And it wasn't near like the big soccer teams. Right. So they embraced basketball. So, like they really followed it. And so that's what made it special, and I didn't think it would be, the following would be as strong as it was playing in Italy. But it was, it was exciting. The games were intense.
Did it take time for you at first to going overseas to kind of like embrace all that, like to embrace being away from home and into a different culture? Like, was that hard for you?
Oh yeah. Probably to be honest with you, my first year I played in Turkey, and I literally didn't do anything. All I was doing was waiting to get back home. Yeah. And then my next year, kind of the same thing. And, my teammates would be like, hey, come out with us and stuff like that. And I just wanted to play. And all I did was just save my money. I wanted to get back home. And then one time it just hit me. I'm like, I'm over here 8 and 9 months out of my life. And I'm not doing anything, just being miserable, not taking nothing in and just waiting to go back and to hang out back home for 2 months. I was like, I'm wasting time now. I'm wasting my life. So probably going into my third year, I started really kind of, enjoying the experience over there, spreading my wings, so to speak, taking in the culture, going sightseeing, learning about it, trying different things, really just kind of, putting myself into the community, so to speak, wherever I was playing at. And that's when I really had an appreciation for where I was at, and I grew a lot. You learn a lot about yourself when you're in those places, and you don't have all those distractions. And back then, I'm dating myself again, man. It wasn't Zoom, it wasn't none of that stuff, man. So it was a telephone, and then you had to get mail, read a book, stuff like that. So that's why
that mail taking time. Mail taking time to get there.
And the mail taking time. My first phone bill was my whole check, man. I was like, man, I'll call you later, man. So I can't do all that. I need to save this money.
Who do you think, who was the hardest person you played against? It doesn't matter, collegiately, back when you was growing up, professionally, whatever. Who was the hardest person you ever had to play against?
I would probably say Kenny Anderson, and they call him Mahmoud Raouf now, but
yeah. Chris Jackson back.
Yeah. I played against him when he was just got out of the league, and he was playing he came to Europe, and man, you talk about unguardable, man. Golly. That was a tough guard, man. But those two guys, for me, probably was the toughest, hardest guys that I ever played against. Kenny Anderson, I grew up playing with him, and he was always tough, man. He was lightning quick, he was smart. He could do things with the basketball that, at that time, his handle was just, was on a string, man. So he could do all that stuff, man. And he was like that sneaky tough, and he was a wizard with the basketball, man. So I always look forward to playing against Kenny. I always say, me playing against Kenny helped me,
Absolutely. Iron sharp as iron. Shit,
oh yeah.
That's how I go.
Oh yeah.
So you get done playing, you had a great career overseas, and then you go right into coaching. Right, you go into high school and then AAU. Is that something you like knew already? Like in the back of your head, it was like, all right, this is what I want to do. I want to go into coaching.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I had a little break. And once I finished playing overseas, I had a little break. So I was really trying to kind of figure it out. And I had I started working in real estate, and I brung my family up back to an alumni game. I think you were still, matter of fact, you were still playing.
Yes,
It was your
I remember
senior
I
year.
remember the night
Yep, yep, yep. You remember that, right?
at the hotel.
At the hotel, right. So I brought my family back up that night, and
Yep.
that day, that weekend. And that was the weekend when I left there after talking with Hop and talking with Coach Boeheim. They basically said you should be coaching. And once I left that weekend, that's when I kind of started making my transition into coaching. And then I started coaching AAU in high school, and then it just kind of moved along from there. But sitting down with them, and coaching hadn't crossed my mind at that time. Until I kind of really sat down and talked with Hop and Coach, and they were just like, "What are you doing?" I was telling them what I was doing. They was like, "Man, you need to be, you got a great story. You love the game. You got high IQ for the game. You can connect with these, with the kids. It's nothing like, obviously you love basketball, but that basketball journey, that development, and not, you work here, you've been with, that development on and off the court, and sharing your experiences to help them to get them to places, man. So, it's one of the most rewarding things about this job is to see these guys grow, not only as players, but as people. So, that kind of started my journey into coaching after that weekend.
So after because you were at high school for a few years, and then how did the Viatech job come about?
So the AAU program that I was with, they had a guy named Jeff Allen, and
My guy.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah.
Yeah, I played with him in Israel. That's my man.
So they were from the same program, and Seth Greenberg, he's a New York City guy, so he knew who I was, and he had a spot open up, and and at that time that was a program that he had relationships with. He wanted to, he recruited out of there. He recruited from that program, and he knew me, and it just kind of clicked. And he brought me down for an interview. We talked. And he just offered me the job right there. But it was really through the program I was associated with. They had a relationship that we had some players from our program at the time at the VTech. So it was some mutual friends there, and it just kind of clicked. And that was my end. That was the way I got into the business.
And shit, you almost didn't go to Syracuse. It's almost Dayton.
Oh yeah. So that was a crazy story. So I. Archie gets the job at Dayton, and through I forgot how we got connected, and I was on my way to Dayton, and then my one of my good friends, he's on, he follows everything. He calls me, he goes, "Hey man, did you hear about Rob Murphy? He took the job at Eastern Michigan." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a spot at Syracuse, man. You should put a call in." And I'm like, "Man, I'm not gonna call them. They probably already know, who they want to hire." And then I just got off the phone. I thought a little bit, and I said, that's where I want to be. I would love to coach there. I would love to go back, alma mater. So I called Hop, and Hop started talking, and he said it's a couple of guys they talking to, and then he gave me Coach's number. I called Coach, and then it happened pretty quick. So I was shocked. Then I had to call, I was so excited, when Coach said, "Yeah, come up, I think, I'm gonna hire you." I forgot to tell Archie. So I had to, call Archie back like, "Hey man, I'm sorry, man, but this happened." I was like, I apologize to him. I said, I would never, I wouldn't have did this if it was any other school, but it's my alma mater.
Yeah,
And
he knows it.
He understood it, man. But yeah, that was crazy, man. Like I just called. I didn't think I had a shot at all. And but I got on it, and my boy called me, said, "Man, what you got to lose? You might as well call." And I know I wanted to be there, so I called, and then that's how it kind of went down. But I was definitely on my way to Dayton. I was actually getting ready to go with Arch to do a home visit. to keep one of the kids that was there. We were supposed to go do a home visit, and like a day or two before when everything happened.
Man, how cool is it to have played at Cuse, and then for Coach Boeheim, and then all them years later come back, and now you the associate head coach under. Do you ever sit back and just kind of be like, damn, like it kind of everything came full circle? Because like we just talked about, I could have been at Dayton for real.
Right. You know what, E? It's probably not a week that goes past that I'm just so, thankful and happy to be at my alma mater. And I think, obviously playing with Coach, playing for Coach, and now working with Coach and working with guys, Jerry and, Griff, the alumni staff, and then, always having guys come back, always seeing you, like, that connection is strong, man. Even, last on Saturday, get a chance to see Eton and Arenze and, Sherm and all those guys, man. It's awesome, man. I feel blessed. I'm so happy and blessed to be at my alma mater, a place that I love dearly, that helped me grow from a young man and to a man. Those 4 years that I spent here, impacted me as a person, and as a man, and to be back here and to be able to kind of share those experiences and help impact these players here now, there's nothing else that I would want to do. Nothing else that I would want to do.
What makes like Syracuse so special? Like, because it is like it's a unique place because first of all of us play for the same guy. He's been here for 70 years, so everybody has that. Well, everyone has that commonality between each other, right? I don't care if you played when Rosie was there. He treats me like I'm his teammate. So what makes it so special? Syracuse University and the program specifically.
Yeah, obviously, Coach. Like you said, the arena, the dome, the best college, stage there is in all of basketball. I don't care what anyone says. And I think, I think a lot of our stories and experiences, not only on the court, but off the court, are very similar. Think about it. When you travel somewhere and you see someone else from Syracuse, you automatically connect.
Off top.
You just automatically connect because this town, Syracuse is it, and this community, they rally behind us like no other, good, bad, they're there day in and day out, whether it's rain, sleet, or snow. And I think that, even the weather, even the weather, people make this big deal about it. Again, you're outside for like 2 minutes at a time, 5 minutes at a time. It's not that big a deal, but, what it is like to be up here in the wintertime in Syracuse. So I just think all of that stuff, man, it's just it's a big, I always say Syracuse is a big brand, but it's a small community, and it's a together community. So I just think that, all of those things make Syracuse, a special place, and it's a connected, the fan base, the community is just, they bleed orange, man. They bleed orange. You go here, even the guys that like come here and then transfer out, still a part. They still a part of it. They still connect, with the Orange family. Even the guys that come in for 1 year, John Gillen and Andrew White, those guys are considered family, Orange family, and that's how our community is. It's a passionate, loving community, man.
I want to talk about the development piece a little bit, specifically like with the wings and forwards, because over the recent years, had a lot of NBA guys obviously come out of Syracuse at that position. Starting with like Wes Johnson, Jeremy O'Shea, and you develop those guys. Talk about what are like a few things you really focus in on, to developing those guys and helping them, not only for college for right now, but also for that long term for the NBA.
I think every player is different. So, some players are different, but I think the one thing that I always try to instill in them is confidence and that work ethic, and that every day, the best thing that you can do is be consistent and be reliable, and that translates into anything that you do in life. So that work ethic of coming in every day and not just, giving above and beyond. And so you can live with anything else if you do that. If you work and prepare, so the preparation part, and giving and that focus and understanding, that once you do the work, the game, whatever happens in the game, you can live with it because you prepared. You prepared. And most of the time when you prepare, it's just like when you study really hard for that test, you walk into that test confident. Like, right. I'm gonna ace this test. And that's the one thing that I try to instill in all these guys is that work ethic. And they all work, but it's a different kind of work ethic. It's a different kind of study, and it's a different kind of approach, daily. And that's the thing that we do. You come with me, we work. We're gonna work. We're gonna work in practice. We're gonna work before practice, and we're gonna work after practice. And you got to have that to create that true confidence. You see a lot of people that just these kids, or just players in general. They the loudest person in the room is sometimes the least confident person in the room. And that's my biggest thing, confidence, that inner, real, true confidence. And you only get that by putting that work in.
And you spending all that time with them and you being their coach is automatically, now they like, oh shit, he really believe in me. Now it's like a different, like now they want to like do it for you as well, right? Like it's kind
right.
of, you got that bond.
Yeah, I mean, we connect. We spend a lot of time with each other. I think one of the when I first got here, Chris Joseph was here, and and me and Chris, we would I would always tell him he need to lock in. You need to lock in, and when after he graduated, he came back probably by that year or two afterwards, and he was like, Coach, I get what you was trying to do. I get what you were saying, and that's one of the biggest, memories that I have, as a coach, like, those guys coming back and them saying, Coach, I thought you was crazy, man, but I get what you're saying now. I understand where you were coming from. And so, that piece right there, that's why I do it. Again, just to get those guys to work at a certain level and to do it every day, not every other day, not when you want to. It's going to be days that you don't want to. And that's that's what I'm here for. I always tell them, I can hold you accountable, for your dream, more than you can. I could do it every day for you.
That's big time to have a coach be able to be there for you like that. Cause it's more than basketball too. When it's because like you said, we come back this for life when you come to Syracuse.
That's right. And we spend a lot of time off the court too, but they always come back. And again, you're trying to help them and guide them and point them in the right direction. When the basketball stops, them trying to make that transition to what's their next move. That's what we do here. We all, when these guys come back, we try to help, all of our guys, point them in the right direction, get them, wherever we can help them, get them in the right direction, going, doing the right thing. So, and that's what I think, that's another thing that makes, Syracuse special. Not to say that no one else does it, but you've been a part of it. You know how it is, how it works. And that's the one thing about Coach, he doesn't do a lot of talking. He don't do a lot of stuff, but anytime his guys, his players, they need anything, he's right there trying to make it happen, trying to help them out any way we can.
What's the craziest recruitment story you got, like, or the most stressful? Like a player, a couple of players, whoever it was. What's the craziest story you got?
My craziest recruiting story, revolves around you, E.
Me? Damn. Let me know what's going on, Ray. What happened?
Hey, man? Do you remember the Darius Bazley?
I do remember Darius Bazley. Yes, I do.
It was like, but you know what though? It was funny. But I was like, man, when y'all was going at it, man, and y'all was playing, and you was like, man, and was it you and Mo?
It was me and Mo, and I want to say Black.
Yeah, it was like a 3-on-3 or 2-on-2.
3-on-3, and you know me, Red. When we lace them up, shit, I know we want you to come here, shit, but when we lace them up, I'm not thinking about that shit, Red.
Oh, I know you wasn't, man. I was just I'm like, man, this kid ain't coming, man. Even though he didn't come, but at that time, I was like, man, he gonna make the kid hate the joke. It was funny though when you guys were playing, man, and it was competitive. But that's what I liked about him. That's when I knew he loved to play. You know, I was like, this kid gonna, yeah.
Remember, I think we were at Coach House. He down and everybody upstairs eating. He down there shooting.
He down there shooting. So that was pretty funny, man. That visit right there was pretty funny. Just that basketball part of it, man. That was when y'all guys got competing, man. That was pretty funny, man.
Yeah, he was upset a little bit after. I ain't gonna lie.
Remember, he didn't want to talk.
Shout out to D Bazley because he's doing good now.
Oh, doing his thing. Doing his thing, man. I mean, I remember we first seen him. Griff told us about him, and then we went to see him, man. I was like, man, this kid, man, talented, man. He's talented, and he's only going to keep getting better because he loves the game. You know, that's the one thing, you know, that was my impression of him, man. He loved the hoop. You know, he wanted to play, man. So, you know, big shout out to D Baze, man. He's a good player, man. He's good, man.
Yeah, I mean, shit, he can be honorary Orange or something because, you know, if anywhere he was going here, shit.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. But that was pretty funny. E. That I'll never forget that. I was just sitting there like, man, man. I was trying to catch your attention, like, E, just let him get the call.
We were going at it. That was good.
Oh yeah, that was good stuff though.
Hey, what's the keys to being such a good recruiter? I mean, because you're one of the best assistant coaches in the country, but the best recruiter as well. So what are the things that really helped you, you know, get these, you know, high caliber guys?
I think you got to be yourself. First and foremost. I think people could see through, you know, people that are not genuine. I really do. You know, I just think they can see through. I think you got to be yourself. You know, you got to be able to connect. You got to be able to, you know, connect with people and be yourself and be honest, you know, and those are the things that I do. You know, like I said, I don't, you know, I'm just myself. You know, obviously coming to Syracuse, you know, the program sells itself, you know, the opportunities, but I think it's really just about, you know, the communication and how you connect and, you know, and being really having a vision for them and within your program, you know, and I think when you have that vision and that belief in them and how you see things, and if you can articulate that, I think that helps all the time, you know, how you see them growing, you know, and it's not, you know, for me, it's not just all basketball. It's also the off the court, you know, growing as a person. You know, I always say these kids are going to grow up and these young men going to grow up to be men, you know, and our experience, like, you know, these 4 years, they impact, you know, you going forward, because not only are you whoever the player, you're going to be whoever the father, you're going to be whoever the husband, you know, you're going to be whoever, you know, whatever job that you do. So, you know, having that vision for them and being able to articulate the growth that, you know, what your program can do to help them, not only as players, but as people and as people is really important.
100%. I think that's huge now too, especially with like all these off the court deals and stuff. People want to know more than hoop now, right? They want to know, you know, how can I get, you know, am I going to be able to get this card deal or shit, or whatever it is. It's just a lot more that goes on to it now.
I just think, I think athletes in general are, you know, are more well-rounded now. I think they understand, you know, it's you know, like they're not just basketball, you know, they have other interests, you know, they have other things, you know, basketball is obviously important, but I just think today's athletes, that's the difference between, you know, when I grew up, you know, it was just like, you know, you just concentrated on basketball all day and that's all you did. And that's what you wanted to do. Now I think, you know, you can do that and other things as well. So I just think that the student athlete and the athlete, the professional athlete in today's game, in today's society is just, they're more well-rounded, you know, and I love it. You know, you know, they're expanding, you know, into different things.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's pros and cons too, though, right? I mean, because like you said, like, it was all ball. Like sometimes, you know, it's not it needs to be about all ball. When you know what I mean, instead of being about social media or how many followers. Like, how do you navigate that type of stuff? You know, with all the social media stuff coming into play too.
I think, you know, I think that's what you talk about time. You know, we talked to our guys about time management. How do you manage your time? You know, obviously, you know, I didn't grow up with all of that, the social media stuff. So, you know, but my kids do, you know, and I'm around, you know, these young student athletes. And that's, they grew up with it and that's a part of their life. So that's real to them. And so you can't be dismissive of that. You just can't, you know, as a coach, you cannot dismiss that and tell them like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. I just think you got to talk about how to use it, when to use it, time management. Don't let it be a distraction, and give them examples of how it can be a distraction, because sometimes they don't know, you know, they don't know. So it's all about time management and having those conversations with them. And we do a lot of that, you know, with our guys. You know, we do a lot of that of, you know, the uses of social media when, you know, when it can become a distraction. You know, like I said, you know, after certain things, like after a bad game, you don't need to be on social media. You know you play bad. You know, if you don't need to be on there because you don't need, you know what you did. You know, that's just one little small example. Like, you know, you didn't play good, so no need to go on there to see, you know, if someone says something else. You know, and I think you talk about, you know, things like that, and just in that aspect of it, you know, that's where that confidence in yourself, you know, that kind of being able to shut that stuff out and just kind of stay focused. That's where that comes into play with that. But I think you can't ignore it. You just got to, you know, talk to them about, you know, the management of it, time management.
So I want to transition and talk about this year, talk about this season a little bit. Some ups and downs, but I mean, it's been some strides still too. I mean, it's been times, because people don't understand, like 5-5, but besides the Auburn game, really right there, Villanova last 5 minutes, that was second half. We there the whole way. You know, obviously last game with Georgetown. So we're right there. But what are the things? So first off, the first two things that I see is just the defense and rebounding. But the defense has got better. But what are the things that you guys have to do to continue to improve upon those?
You know, I think we have to continue to work and understand, you know, what we need to get better at. And I think, you know, we're doing that now, you know, kind of breaking it down, so to speak, of the areas that we're struggling with right now. And obviously rebounding is a big part of that. And I think, you know, those are the things that we're focusing on now. Obviously, you know, the defensive part, because the offense, we're scoring enough points, you know, and it's really been about, you know, getting stops and learning how to play as a unit. We especially in my group, I have 3 new guys. Even though Jimmy is familiar with it, you know, playing in it is different than watching it. You know, obviously Coach Swider coming in, you know, this is a different system for him, you know, and obviously Benny Williams being a freshman, you know, college is different for him. So, you know, and my group in particular, you know, I got 3 new guys that are trying to figure it out, you know, and try to understand, you know, the speed and where they need to be at. And obviously, you know, when the ball is up, you know, kind of, you're getting back in there when the ball goes past you, you know, you still got to kind of come back because the play's not over yet, over with, you know, those are the things that we're addressing. So I think, you know, you just got to keep doing those things, E. And this is December, you know, this is, you know, we got 10 games in.
Yeah.
We've been here before.
Yeah.
You know, it's a season, you know, it's the season, you know, we still got some work to do. But, you know, I think that, you know, obviously the biggest thing that we focusing on right now is our defense. Like, our offense is, you know, we're scoring points. It's really got to be our defense. We have to be able to stop people, you know, and again, are we going to shut people down? No, that's not our defense. You know, our team is not made up of, you know, shut down guys, but we can stop people. And we just got to do a better job of doing that. So, you know, these we'll have 5 days to practice, and I think that'll help us. I think you'll see a difference.
Let's talk about just Benny a little bit, because I saw him in practice. You can see it. You can see the potential, right? And I don't like to use the word potential because people just use it. You can see it's there though. You can see he has it. What does he have to do? And I've talked about it with other people. I think just defensively and rebounding, I think he could really help out. But that's how he can get himself going offensively too. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Coach always used to say to guys like that. This is where you got to focus in. Offense will come, but defensively and rebounding, those are two things that I think he can really help. But what do you think he needs to do to, continue to keep improving and getting better?
Yeah, you know it, man. You just hit it right on, hit the nail on the coffin, hit it right there on the nail, excuse me. Is that he needs to focus on, like you said, the rebounding and those things, and the offense will come. So that's what we talk to him about. And obviously, making that transition from high school to college, that's a jump, like the speed, the physicality for him, but he has all the abilities and he's starting to get it. I think even at practice, that you've seen, like you said, you see those flashes here and there, and he's starting to pick it up. And, coach has been really good with him, kind of bringing him along. And the great thing about Benny is that he wants to be good. He wants to be coached, and he's open and he's trying, so again, he's starting to make that strides. I think he's the guy that, I think as he continues, especially now we got a little stretch where, school is out. I think he'll be able to kind of really get in, really kind of focus in a little bit more, because people don't understand, that balance of, that student and basketball, especially for a freshman, like once you become a sophomore and junior, you kind of figure it out, you can balance it. But for a freshman, that's a tough adjustment too, the academics and the everyday of, you got to get there and days are long, things like that. But I think just him just continually just staying in the gym, which he is, and really just kind of like not putting no pressure on himself, but just like I said, playing defense and rebounding and focusing on that. And that'll allow him to stay on the court a little bit longer, because you know what? We need that. That can help us. We need that. He's a guy that, he jumps out the gym. He's strong, he's athletic, he has a quick, he got quick bounce. So he can help us in that area for sure.
He's a guy that he could fuck around, make a mistake in the zone and still be able to recover. That's the type of athlete he is.
Right. And that's the stuff that it's like, he can do some stuff that, like you said, make a mistake and come back and still block a shot. He can make a mistake on a closeout and run down and still jump over two people and get the rebound, and we out going down the court. So that's the stuff that, that's where he can help this team and help himself and help us.
I like what he said too. And like you said, he likes to be coached, and you could tell the interview he did, just kind of stating like, nah, I'm not transferring. I'm staying here. I'm going to learn. I'm going to get like, that's, dude, like freshmen aren't expected to come in right away and play at most places at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I think that showed a lot of maturity on his end to know that I got a lot of work to do. But I'm not scared of it. And I'm going to keep busting my ass to get to where I need to get.
Right. I mean, that's 100%. And that's why I say, like, he wants to be, he has the right mentality, and he's going to get it because he's not scared of the work. And the one thing about him is that he can tune all that stuff out. He doesn't listen to that stuff. He's just worried about, playing for Syracuse and being able to help Syracuse out, that was definitely mature of him, and that just kind of, I think he probably was getting, that was his message to the world of like, leave me alone. I'm here. I'm at the Q's. I'm staying at the Q's, and I'm about, I got work to do, and I loved it.
Yeah, that was refreshing for Syracuse fans to hear. I bet.
Yeah. For me too.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely, no doubt. All right, last question. I'll get you up out of here. To get to the NCAA tournament, Syracuse has to fill in the blank.
We got to win some games, man.
We got to
win a lot of games, man. I think obviously we got to finish up this non-conference, and then I think going into conference play, I think our league is good. Our league is good, but I think this year, if you look around college basketball, I think at any any given time, you can beat anybody you play against. And I think that's kind of like our league too. Florida State's really good. We went down there. We haven't won down there in a long time, so we're there, we're close. We got to get better, but I like this group. They come in, they work hard, and I think it's no different than last year. People didn't think we could, pull it out, and we just kept keep getting better, month by month. And I think this team will do the same thing. I think we'll continue to improve, and but we got to win games. That's the bottom line this year. It's no, like all those other things are gone. You just got to win games, and that's every year. You got to win games, and you probably got to finish in the top half of the conference, and then go down and play well in the tournament and see what happens. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I got a feeling. I got a hunch, Red, that come March that Cuse we're gonna be in the hunt, man. That's just me, but hey, what do I know?
That's we're gonna be right there. That. We don't fold up, man. We keep going, man. We don't fold up the tent. We keep going. We keep working, and we'll figure it out.
Absolutely. Well, man, Red, I appreciate you coming on, taking the time. Like I said, I know you're busy during the season, so I appreciate you coming on and showing love, man.
Man, thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. I was waiting for the phone call, man.
I appreciate you, man, showing love. Definitely, man. Good luck the rest of the season, too.
All right, I'll talk to you later, man.